Good morning, everyone. So this is the section that we skipped in class the week before spring break. The section we didn't get to is section 7.5. So I'm going to go ahead and have it during the spring break information so you can watch this video, take notes, and that you can work the sections in ALEKS. So this section is a little bit different than what we've been working on recently because this is interest problems. So we're going to look at a couple types of interest. We're going to do simple interest first, and then we'll do a more complicated problem called compound interest. So simple interest is actually pretty easy. Simple interest is going to be this very nice formula. It's going to be I times P times R times T. So let's talk about what everything means. Interest is how much money you either make or have to pay. Principal is how much you start with, the starting amount. Your interest rate, obviously, they're going to be given to you. You got to be careful, though. This needs to be in a decimal. And then T is obviously time. So let's look at a couple examples. So if you have $9,000 at 5% interest for 4 years, the first thing we're going to do is calculate actually how much interest you're going to pay. And I'm just going to plug this into my calculator, right? This is going to be 9,000 times 0.05 times 4. Remember, you got to change your interest rate to a decimal. So 9,000 times 0.05 times 4. So your interest is going to be $1,800 on this amount. Now, the other thing they're going to want you to do is find actually how much you have to pay in total. That's going to be your initial amount plus your interest. So to find the total amount, I need to take my $9,000 and I need to add my $1,800. So my total amount I have to pay back is $10,800. That's if it's 5% interest for 4 years. So this again is called simple interest. Why don't you try to calculate these two? You can pause the video if you want. Try these two problems, and then again, I'll put my answers up once I redo these problems. I'm going to continue on, so hopefully if you wanted to do those problems, you paused the video. All right, so of course, they can always give us a word type problem. So what if you get a $11,200 loan? By the way, that's your principal. It's to be paid back in 4 years, so this is your time. And if you pay 4% interest, remember we're going to write this as 0.04. This is your interest rate. So find the total amount she needs to pay back. All right, so let's find the simple interest first. 11,200 times 0.04 times 4 years. And then we're going to add that to the initial amount that she first had. All right, once again, I'm going to do this in my calculator. The interest rate, the amount of interest she's going to pay is $1,792. And then if I add that to the $11,200 she paid, her total amount is $12,992. So again, we can do it via word problems. Not too bad. All right, so the next thing they're going to do is something called compound interest. Now, this worksheet's a little bit silly because they want us to do it by hand first, especially problem 7. So we're actually not going to do problem 7 because I don't like the way they do it. I'm going to show you a separate way to do it, but I do want to talk about problem 5 and 6 because that's important. So compound interest means they charge you during different periods. They could be monthly interest, they could be yearly interest, they could be daily interest. In fact, credit cards actually charge you interest per day. Your car loan is interest per day. Actually, they actually add it up over the year. So a lot of different types of compounding interest. So you really need to be careful when you're looking at loans, how they're compounding that interest. But a couple things I want to talk about. If the bank compounds interest monthly for 4 years, how many total times are they going to do it? Well, you got to remember that there's 12 months in a year. So they're actually going to compound the interest 48 times over that 4 years. Now that sounds like a lot. It's actually not bad. They actually only compound 1% of the interest over 48 times. It gets a little complicated, but you'll see it when you go to higher level math. And actually on the next page, you'll see the formula. All right, another word you're going to see a lot is semi-annually. Semi-annually means twice, 2 times. So if you have 7 years of interest and it's done semi-annually, you're going to have 14 total periods. So this idea that we can calculate how many times they're going to compound the interest is going to be really important, especially on the next page. Now, I know the formula on the next page is going to look crazy. It's really not that bad, I promise you. So Doing it by hand, which is what problem 7 wanted us to do, we're not going to do that. We're going to use the formula. So instead of doing things by hand, we're going to use this formula. Let me explain what everything is. A is how much you're going to end with. So this is going to be your total amount. 1 is just the number 1. Right? R, again, is your rate. Again, this is written as a decimal. N, so this new thing, N, is the number of times compounded. All right, over a year. Okay, we'll talk more about that. And then obviously, T is time. So again, it gets a little bit cumbersome. By the way, they're missing something on here. They forgot to put the P in there. There's actually supposed to be a P in here. P right in front. So it's A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N to the NT. So whoever made this worksheet made a mistake. They forgot to put the P in there. P's important. Remember, P is your principal. That's how much you start with, right? Again, knowing what these different words mean are going to be important. Annually means N is going to be 1. Semi-annually, N is going to be 2. Quarterly, right, every 3 months, N is 4. Monthly, N is 12. Daily, N is 365. All right, let's do a couple examples. If $3,000 is deposited in an account paying 9% interest, yeah, good luck finding 9% interest, compounded monthly for 5 years, label the following things. All right, principal is your initial amount. Your interest rate is 0.09. Remember, you got to write that as a decimal. My N value, because it's monthly, is going to be 12, and T is going to be 5 years. All right, let's figure out problem number 9. You deposit $3,500 into an account paying 6% annual interest compounded semi-annually. How much money will be in the account after 1 year? Okay, so my answer is my principal, 1 plus my interest rate written as a decimal, divided by the number of times compounded, remember semi-annually means 2, raised to the 2 times 1, because I'm only doing it in 1 year. Now, putting this in your calculator can be a little problematic. I'm going to show you what steps I recommend, show you how to do it in this calculator. I actually recommend you work from the inside out. So let me show you on this calculator. So I actually recommend you do the 0.6 divided by 2 first. Make sure you can see that, okay? So, clear. 0.06 divided by 2. Yeah, make sure you can see that, good. Now I'm gonna add that to 1. So that's inside the parentheses. Now I'm going to raise that to the second power. If you have the same type of calculator I have, it's right beside the number 7. So answer squared. And now I'm going to multiply that by the original amount. So it turns out after 1 year, you'll have $3,713.15. All right. So again, being able to do interest is important. Being able to calculate interest, and again, the difference between simple and compounded interest, not too bad. I think it's an okay problem. Have a great day. Be sure you're trying your problems on Alex, and I'll see y'all in a couple weeks.